under the time constraints of him.
Yeah. Let's just do this whole last page. Can we start a reign of rest?
This is all the parents.
A reign. 51, 3, 4.
O reign of rest is we forgetting the music of stillness. Holy and stars I shall
And then we'll do a sort of a fermata at the end. There's not one written,
Yeah,
but
I'm like,
it's
that's not
but
four
a
beats.
whole yeah.
What's it for
Can we do those last two bars one last time?
Just like, so
Stars.
like a guitar.
Last two bars one more time. Stars.
You're gonna.
Last two bars. 3, 4.
Stars I shall find.
Can I hear altos once? Ready, go.
Stars I shall find.
Middle split. Stars. Ready, go.
Stars I shall find.
Top split. Stars. Ready, go.
Stars I shall find.
Top three parts. All top three parts. Stars, stars, stars. Ready, go.
Stars I shall find.
There it is. Let's add baritones in. Some of this is not locking in there. Keep it nice and tall, nice and open. When we're singing more confidently, it helps with the pitch too. Because it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy where if you're not confident on it and you're like hesitant, it makes the pitch wonky and wobbly. But you know it better than you think you do, I promise. So if you're just a little bit more present, a little bit more confident, it'll be there. Can we sing the last two bars one more time? Stars. 1, 2, a little bit more.
Stars I shall find.
Beautiful, really. That's my only last note, is just really sing out. Sing out and it'll be amazing. Truly. I'm not joking.
What would really help?
It makes a huge difference. It really does.
Yeah, but what would really help is if we could move and perform safe things like
No,
Well, you can do whatever you want.
I feel encouraged.
I'll just have to like.
Yes, that's good. That'll work.
Oh, sorry, 56. Oh goodness.
Yeah, it's time.
That's okay. There's a lot of people still chatting.
They were listening. Though.
That's the UUS.
Our gathering song for the month of February is Be the Light, with words and music by Leah Morris, inspired by Amanda Gorman's poem, The Hill We Climb. Please rise in body or in spirit. There is always a light when we are ready to see it. There is always a light when we are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill, together we will. There is always a light when we are ready to see it. There is always a light when we are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill, together we will be the light.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Society. I'm Madison Colquette. I am your ministerial intern for this congregational year. My pronouns are she, her. I am a blonde white woman. Today I'm wearing a blue sweater with hearts on it, and I am standing in UUS's pulpit at the front of our sanctuary. I am so glad that you are joining us in worship this morning. This word, worship, comes from Old English, and it means to lift up that which is of worth. And we are here today in community to do just that, to lift up that which is of worth in our lives and in our communities. We are here to celebrate and honor Black History Month and to affirm that Black futures matter. As Unitarian Universalists, our faith expresses our core value of love through how we agree to be together, to support each other, and to learn together. We are guided by the shared principles, sources, and values of our living religious tradition. This morning, as we explore Afrofuturism as an expression of faith, we celebrate Afrofuturism as not only a vision of the future, but as an essential expression of Black history. We engage in our values of justice, equity, interdependence, and transformation in the ways we imagine a future where all of us can thrive. As we gather, we give thanks for this land and all who have cared for it over the centuries and who continue to care for it, particularly the Kickapoo, the Iowa, the Sauk, and the Meskwaki, and the Oceti-Shakawan nations. If doing something with your hands helps you, we invite you to visit the Soul Work table outside the sanctuary doors to pick up an exploratory guide or coloring sheet related to today's service, or anything else to work with. If you're newer to our congregation, we invite you to learn more about us after the service by talking with a greeter or by filling out our visitor form in YouTube so that we can connect with you. This morning's call to worship is from a 2000 essay by science fiction writer and Afrofuturist icon Octavia E. Butler. Butler wrote, "Of course, writing novels about the future doesn't give me any special ability to foretell the future, but it does encourage me to use our past and present behaviors as guides to the kind of world we seem to be creating. The past, for example, is filled with repeating cycles of strength and weakness, wisdom and stupidity, empire and ashes. To study history is to study humanity, and to try to foretell the future without studying history is like trying to learn to read without bothering to learn the alphabet. So why try to predict the future at all if it's so difficult, so nearly impossible? Because most of all, our tomorrow is the child of our today. Through thought and deed, we exert a great deal of influence over this child, even though we can't control it absolutely. Best to think about it, though. Best to try to shape it into something good. Best to do that for any child. Our opening hymn, number 169, We Shall Overcome, has been used as a protest song widely in civil rights movements across the U.S. and internationally. The origins of the song are unclear, but it is thought to descend from the hymn I'll Overcome Someday, published in 1901 by the Reverend Charles Albert Tindley, a Black Methodist Episcopal minister from Philadelphia. In 1965, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. recited these words in his sermon to an interfaith congregation in California. Dr. King said, "We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome. And I believe it because somehow the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." We sing this today in celebration and reverence for our ancestors in justice, for those who imagined and continue to imagine liberated futures.
In spirit. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. Walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall hand in hand someday. We shall all be free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall all be free someday. We shall live in peace.
Good morning. I believe that someday we will live in peace. My name is Quanda Hood, and I'm a worship associate here at UUS. As Unitarian Universalists, we light a flame within a chalice as a symbol of sanctuary, safety, and hope, to unite us in this worship and to remind us of our ongoing search for the light of truth. Please join me in saying our chalice lighting words as Alex lights our chalice. Oh, we have a team, maybe. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the wonder and mystery of this great gift. So let us now kindle the flame of our liberal religious heritage and renew our covenant of mutual love and care. Love is our doctrine, the quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to serve those in need. This we promise, this we covenant with life and one another. And I apologize, I didn't introduce myself better. I kind of lost my track there, but I am a woman from all over the world. When you look at 23andMe, I light up every corner of the map. I am medium height right now. I have black and white hair. I'm dressed rather monochromatically for me in a dusty pink shirt and blue jeans. I'd like to do something if you all will indulge me. Would you turn around and wave to everybody online? I just want to make them feel welcome. Not as great as the Kinnick wave, but just as good. We are at a turning point, burdened by our past. Authoritarianism is rising, and harmful ideals are spreading abroad. History seems to repeat itself. The community shrinks, some are targeted, and the truth is ignored. As Unitarian Universalists, we face challenges head-on. We light this candle to mark the darkness. History repeats unless we do the work to stop it. Supremacy and control resurface in institutions. The great man myth exists to make others feel powerless. Freedom is lost slowly, often because people stay silent or become too comfortable. In light of these truths, there is a profound, sober realization at the heart of our faith. No one is coming to save us. This is not loneliness. We are not alone. We have power. Waiting for others, leaders, gods, or future generations to save us gives up our power. Our Universalist tradition teaches us that our love and action save us. If justice is restored, we do it. If truth is defended, it's through us. The most radical rebellion is growing beloved community. Interdependence is our shield. We strengthen bonds where authoritarianism divides. Justice is our patience, not a destination, but our way together. Healing is our fuel. We must address exhaustion and trauma to be persistent. In this community, we help each other resist the control of fear. We remind one another that even if the world is broken, we are not. We light this candle for justice, not just as a symbol, but as a commitment to recognize and honor the worth and dignity of every person. We light this candle for healing, a gentle but steady effort to mend what has been broken. We light this candle for persistence, the enduring resolve that continues even after attention fades. The candle's flame serves as a visible reminder of these ongoing hopes and practices. Here we light this candle for justice, healing, and persistence, the strength to keep going even when things get hard. As I light this candle, let's hold a time of silence to listen to our hearts and bodies, or perhaps to lift up prayers. And now we've got Nick with our Time for All Ages.
Good morning, everyone. As Quanda said, my name is Nick. My name is Nick Kaplan. My pronouns are they, them, and I am the grateful director of Lifespan Religious Education here at UUS. And significantly shorter than everyone else, so I needed to move the mic. Sorry. So, we've been doing a special workshop that we've been calling Social Change Now, after the book that it's modeled after. Some weeks, people have been helping me remember what we did last week. This week, I'm just going to summarize the roles that we explored in our social change ecosystem last week and let you know what we're going to do today before heading off to religious education classes. So last week, and each week, we explore 2 roles. Excuse me. Last week, we explored experimenters and caregivers. And I have my notes that we took all together last week up on my phone, so you'll forgive me. So experimenters, the way that we defined them was that they're creative. They're creative at coming up with ideas about how to approach things in general, the world, problems, all sorts of different issues. And experimenters like to try new things. And it's okay if it doesn't go the way they expect. Experimenters help us change what isn't working. And they're the people in the room, in the communities, they're the people who ask, what happens if fill in the blank? So we've acknowledged here during our services over the last few weeks that not everyone fits into every role, and sometimes you fit into one role, sometimes and not others. So who in here feels like they're an experimenter? What happens if, we have a few of you, great, not everyone should feel like an experimenter. That's how the ecosystem works, as we each fill different roles at different times. Great, so we have some experimenters. What happens if? Our caregivers in our social change ecosystem are really good at taking care of people and helping them take care of themselves. Caregivers are observant and they notice when people are tired, when people are scared, when they're hurt, and those caregivers try to help. Caregivers in a social change ecosystem help us stay human while we change what isn't working. Anyone in here feel like that caregiver role is your role? Great, we've got caregivers too. That's wonderful. Each of these 10 roles that Deepa Iyer has outlined are so important to an ecosystem. They're so important to our interdependent web. So last week, we explored caregivers and experimenters. If you want to explore storytellers and weavers, I hope you'll join us for the All Ages Workshop at 11:30. We'll be meeting in the RE Commons to explore those 2 roles. And that's all from me for today. At this point in our service, our children, youth, and teachers head to our religious education classes. Our children light a lantern as a symbol of the love and hope that goes with them as they explore our faith. Children, youth, teachers, anyone heading to our Mosaic anti-racism classes, please come forward as Alice lights our chalice, not to be confused with Alex, who lit the lantern. Alice is lighting our chalice. And we will all join in singing Be Open as children, youth, and teachers head to religious education. The words are on your screen.
Be open for
for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Aye, 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 aye,
I'm looking for Diana. Is Diana here? Okay. We'll come back to Diana. Our congregation is made up of many people and of many communities. Together, we create a community that nurtures us as we seek to live love more fully and fiercely into this world. This morning, Quanda will share about a project underway to pilot an Iowa Freedom School in June 2026. Quanda?
The Iowa Freedom School is being developed in response to the Iowa legislators' efforts to limit the teaching of our racial history, banned books, and removing DEI programs and curriculum from public schools and universities. We will be plotting a freedom school for up to 45 middle school students of color at Dream City from June 15th to the 19th, ending on Juneteenth. We will then adapt this pilot model for use by other faith communities across the state. I've been part of an interfaith group developing this program, along with other UUS folks, Diana Henry, Mary McCann, and Reverend Diana. Reverend Diana applied for a grant from the UU Fund for a Just Society to help fund the pilot. Right now, we are looking for more people to join planning teams working on different aspects of organizing the Iowa Freedom School. If you're interested in volunteering, you and your team members can sign up online, or you can find me after the service. Join us in developing this vital program. And now, we'd like to invite Andrea up for a reflection.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrea Smith. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm currently wearing a black collared shirt with a burgundy cardigan, which protected me as I rode my bike here this morning. Yeah, like, oh my God. In Afrofuturist thought, there's a powerful challenge to the idea that technology, imagination, and the future belong to whiteness. Afrofuturism disrupts the assumption that Black culture is only rooted in the past or only in what is considered natural. Instead, it insists that Black folks have always belonged in the future, in the speculative, the imaginative. They belong in worlds that we build. That idea sits at the heart of my research. For a little bit of context, I'm a sociology PhD candidate at the University of Iowa, and I study Black nerds, or Black folks who love games, comics, fantasy worlds, and speculative storytelling. These are spaces often imagined as white and male by default, and as places where Black people are often either absent or seen out of place. But what my research shines a light on is that there are Black folks that do exist within these spaces and are into these nerdy leisure activities. Of course, they face marginalization within nerd spaces and Black spaces, but I also find that they partake in Black nerd placemaking by citing histories in nerd culture. For example, Jerry Lawson, he was a pioneer in the video gaming space. He actually was responsible for creating the first home video game console, right? So these Black nerds also created their own games in their own, in their own image. When I went to Gen Con, which is a board gaming convention in Indianapolis, I met somebody who created this game called Five Mics. And it's a trading card game, just kind of like Magic, The Gathering, or Yu-Gi-Oh, if you're familiar. But instead of like monsters fighting each other, there's rap battlers. So you have these a list of people who rap, and they go against each other, and that's how you win. These Black nerds also create their own characters and stories in their own imagination. Like there's this book called Pimp My Airship, which I think is really fun, a fun way to insert Black culture into these nerd activities. They describe Black joy as resting and seeing expansive Black representation in nerd media and being fully themselves without fear or judgment or code switching. The participants also hint at refusal of narratives that equate Blackness solely with trauma. Choosing connection, laughter, creativity, and play in a world that often tells Black people we must always be strong, always be serious, and always be in pain. That choice is a rejection of the white gaze and a form of liberation and faith. Faith, at its core, is believing in something that we cannot yet fully see. Afrofuturism asks us to believe in Black futures that are not yet fully realized, but are already being practiced. For Black communities, imagining ourselves joyful, whole, and free has always been an act of spiritual resistance and refusal. To imagine a future where Black people thrive is to say that oppression and white supremacy does not define what is possible. Afrofuturism reminds us that liberation is something that we fight for, actively practice, and imagine, even when the world tells us that it's impossible. After all, as Lauren in Parable of the Sower points out, there's always a lot of work to do before you get to go to heaven.
And now I invite Diana Henry up for a reflection.
Morning. I apologize. I had a little medical situation this morning. I want to talk a little bit about Octavia Butler. How many of you have read any of Octavia Butler's? Wow, that's good to know. You know, Octavia Butler was born in 1947 in Pasadena, California. She was born to Octavia. Her mother was Octavia Margaret Guy Butler, and her father's name was Lawrence Butler. Following her father's early death, Octavia is raised by her mother and grandmother, surrounded by a loving extended family. Now, Octavia was born into a world that failed and often still fails to recognize Black women's genius. Despite this, and the fact that she didn't have any direct models for life she wanted to lead, she forged ahead as a writer, a teacher, and a mentor. When she died suddenly in 2006, the literary world mourned the passing of a creature who left the world too soon. Yet despite dying in her prime, like so many Black women writers, such as Audre Lorde and Toni K. Bambara and June Jordan, Octavia left the world with a treasure trove of writing and rich literacy. Her story is one of determination matched with brilliance. Octavia frequently told aspiring writers to forget aspiration and focus on habit. She doggedly pursued her goals despite obstacles, variously struggling with poverty, self-doubt, writer's block, and depression. She wrote in her journal that she would be a best-selling writer, that she would buy both her mother and herself a home, and that she would sponsor undeserved Black writers with scholarships to the Clarion Writers Workshop that had helped her spur her career. She encouraged herself and declared, "So be it," and changed herself to see it, launching herself into an uncharted territory, creating life she dreamed of. She became a best-selling author. She created acclaimed works that reflected her genius. She inspired generations of writers, and she took care of her mama. She moved her dream to her dream city of Seattle and bought herself a home. She did it all that she imagined and more. Yet her story is still too far in the shadows of literary cultural history. A fuller story deserves to be told. Her stories trace the trajectory of the American empire, the nation's transition from a provincial backwater to a capitalist juggernaut, made possible by chattel slavery, to a bloated imperialist superpower on the verge of implosion. From her first book, The Pattern Master. How many in here read the Pattern Master series? I think I see some hands back there. I think that you need to read that series first, because I know most of you probably read The Kindred, right? Let me see the hands. Okay. And some of you read Parable of the Sower, see the hands. Go back and read the Pattern Master series, that whole series, okay? Anyway. From her first book, The Pattern Master, to her last, The Fledgling. How many read the last one, The Fledgling? Okay. Octavia portrays societies hobbled from within by their rigidity, infighting, and myopic vision. The conflict of her novels and short stories mirror the most salient global events, from the rise of chattel slavery through the chaotic realities of the turn of the 21st century. World wars, the hoarding of resources, we see that now with the hoarding of resources. Racial terror, we see that now. Gender bias, pardon me, and climate chaos. Octavia not only warned of the fall of the West as we know it, but also elevates the stories and concerns of Black women while doing so. Octavia told stories about Black women, heroines, to live in turbulent societies, whether as Anyawa battling the Doro for her independence in the colonial area, to Dana negotiating survival among her antebellum ancestors while traveling through time, and Lauren navigating now contemporary wasteland within the dystopic white supremacist president. Oh, wow. Oh, you see that, don't you? Right now. Lilith trying to survive and outwit imperialist aliens and self-destructing humans in the far-off future. Octavia penned cautionary tales of Black women trying to save themselves and the world. These women were neither mammies nor martyrs. However, instead, these character stories both advocate for multicultural coalitions and warn Black women not to sacrifice themselves for the limited visions of white supremacy patriarchal future. They are interested in living and thriving, and so was Octavia. Even in her darkest tales, she almost always ensured that joy was present, and by doing so emphasized that Black women deserve pleasure, happiness, and respect. In Octavia, black women-centered narrative tells the story of humanity's ubers and also hint at what could be our salvation, a rejection of hierarchy in favor of mutuality and community with the most marginalized people centered. So how does Octavia Butler fit into the ecosystem of social change as we approach our own workshops on social change now workshops? So how do you think she fits in with our now social change workshop for those who are attending the workshops? Visionary, okay, yes, yes. Any others? I heard it over here. Storytelling, yes. Someone else? Okay, exactly. Any? Builders. Okay. Any others? Yes, those are all the things, when you think about Octavia Butler, she fits in very neatly or closely with the workshops that we're doing now, okay? So if you haven't attended those workshops, try to attend some, okay? So finally, I want to close with Octavia hoped that we would read her work and then be incited to study our world and our misshaping of it, and be spurred into action in a noble hope, noble and necessary. Though her work often depicts a future marred by violence and injustice, these stories were not just nihilistic prediction, but a sort of love offering for readers to receive and be changed by. And so, to that end, what a gift they are. Octavia's message presupposes that we are smart enough and justice-oriented enough to be introspective and to make life better for generations to come. This is the ultimate gesture of hope for humanity. Consider the hope that many formerly enslaved blacks had for the future. They imagined and agitated for the abolition of chattel slavery, and many of them never saw that it was accomplished. They did not live to see the promised land, as it were, but they fought to create a world that would be better for their descendants, understanding that, as Martin Luther King Jr. put it, quote, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice," end quote, and that we can indeed bend it, shape it towards justice. Octavia had a similar hope for and believed in us, despite her clear-eyed understanding of humanity's shortcomings. She reminds us that everything we touch, we change, and that with a positive obsession for seeking truth, making community, and rejecting the allure of despotism and destructive power, we can create a world that our descendants deserve. She reminds us that our, quote, our tomorrows is the child of our today. Through thought and deed, we exert a great deal of influence over this child, even though we can't control it absolutely. Best to think about it, though. Best to try to shape it into something good. Best to do that for any child. It is up to us to decide whether we shape the world in the image of our better angels or succumb to our tendency to privilege power over empathy. Octavia's life and work have left us with a magnificent blueprint to follow.
Nurturing gratitude and how we understand and express interdependence is part of how we live into our Unitarian Universalist faith. As we enter into a time of meditation, contemplation, and prayer, we acknowledge the joys and sorrows of our congregation, of our people. We do this by dropping stones into a bowl of water, symbolically immersing our personal joys and sorrows into the flow of all life's joys and sorrows. The water surrounds and holds the stone just as we are surrounded and held by the love and support of this congregation. For those who would like to share their joys or sorrows in conversation in a smaller venue, the Pastoral Care Associates will be leading a Compassionate Connection Circle in the Walnut Room immediately after today's worship service. If you're participating in our service elsewhere, you may wish to meditatively hold a stone, wash your hands, or meditate on an object near you. And now, if you are in the sanctuary and feel called to do so, please come forward, take a stone from the basket, and place your stone in the water as we sing together.
There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding me. I rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love.
Will you please join me in a time of prayer and contemplation? Spirit of life, Spirit of love, may we listen deeply to stories we may not have heard before. If we experience discomfort, anger, confusion, sadness, shame, may we pause. May we breathe, and may we be curious. May we have the courage to take risks in living fully into our shared values. May we have the courage that when we make mistakes, which we will keep trying. May our curiosity and compassion companion us into new learning and opportunities for mutual flourishing. May it be so. Amen.
There's a slight change from the title in what's in the order of service, because as I was polishing at 2 a.m. this morning, I just went in a slightly different direction. There's some slides, and I know we're kind of tight on time, so I'm going to kind of move on as fast as I can. We begin in the tension of the split. My own immigration story is a map of navigating the liminal space between two worlds. The rhythmic high Karoma pulse of my origins, next slide please, and the sterile quiet expectations of my new home. Growing up, I lived in the crosshairs of a double-edged sword. On one side, I was ridiculed for speaking well or acting white, as if my intellect were a betrayal of my blood. On the other hand, I faced the relentless quiet pressure to smooth out my edges, to be palatable to the West. This is an exhausting choreography of double consciousness. Next slide. Michelle Obama recently reflected on this negotiation, noting she had to look a certain way to be heard, adhering to other standards while fighting to maintain her own style and flair. We learn to code switch, not only with our tongues, but with our souls. We often hear the well-meaning refrain, "I don't see color." But as Unitarian Universalists, as a Unitarian Universalist and a humanist, I find this to be profound erasure. Not to see my color is to not to see me as a whole and full human being. My color is not a coat of paint. It is my history, my resilience, and my ancestors' survival. In our UU values of equity and empathy, we recognize that true dignity is found in authenticity, not in being wasted into neutral gray. When you refuse to see my color, you ignore the very parts of me that have survived the fire. Next slide, I think. Okay, we'll go with that. In The Defector by Paulo Ramos, she explores the rise of assimilationist ideologies amongst Hispanic, Latinx, and Asian communities, as well as the Black community. Driven by that model minority myth, many seek safety in the dominant culture, hoping to be American enough. But assimilation is born out of control, oppression, and discrimination that is still being engineered today. When we assimilate, we do not fit in, we disintegrate. We trade our vibrant specificities for a seat at a table that was never designed for our comfort. As Zora Neale Hurston famously warned, if you stay silent about your pain to fit in, they will kill you and claim you enjoyed the erasure. The digital landscape is full of trends as what I like to call sad beige. On TikTok and Instagram, which reflect chromophobia, the Western avoidance and fear of vivid color, this bias originates from colonial narratives that label color as an uncivilized or emotional, while presenting neutral tones as more rational and sophisticated. Next slide, please. In Africa, Asia, and South America, color is life, the gold of the sun, the indigo of the night. In these cultures, color expresses the divine and communal. To the West, beige is more tasteful. To the global minority, it is a void. We must challenge the prison that insists black is bad and white is good. We are not here to be clean by Western standards. We are here to be vibrant. Afrofuturism is our answer, a palette of resistance. Artists like Lena Victor reclaimed sovereignty lost to colonization with gold and saturated hues. Western modernism favors white cubes and gray steel. Afrofuturism embraces maximalism. Next slide, please. This is an illustration of some of the patterns that have been stolen from the African continent that famous, well-known designers have co-opted in order to make thousands and millions of dollars, of which the people who those patterns and designs came from never got a dime. Next slide, please. So this is the work of Lena Victor. Yet a contradiction persists. While Western society avoids color in personal expression, it appropriates our cultural colors for fashion and profit. Luxury brands often incorporate traditional patterns like the Basatho blanket or Maasai prints into expensive products, treating our heritage as an aesthetic commodities while pressuring us to remain neutral. This is a form of cultural assimilation that exploits our identities while denying us recognition. I'm so glad that Andrea talked about what she did because I'm about to make a Star Trek reference. When I think of the future, I do think about Star Trek. That vision was beautiful, not because it was a melting pot, but because it was a federation where the Vulcan, the Klingon, and the human remained themselves. The Borg told us resistance is futile, demanding our assimilation into a gray hive mind. We have learned that assimilation does not benefit us. Each of us holds a unique identity. There is no one else like you. While the scientific differences in our DNA are small, their impact is significant. They give rise to our individuality and our brilliance. We are made of stardust, and true to our nature, we each shine in many colors. Next slide. And this is another what's considered Afrofuturism artist, Osborne Macharia. I am human. I am West Indian. I am East Indian, European, African, South American. My roots are anchored in the Fertile Crescent and across the stars. Everyone is here because they were there. We do not have to assimilate, ever. I may straddle many lines of origin and may change how I talk or love, but I will always be unapologetically me. Black folks have survived holding their light in the darkest hours. It's not my fault that some seek to whitewash the world. I will not. I will not stop. Never dim your light for anyone's comfort. Stand boldly in your color, your history, your brilliance. Insist on being seen and heard in your authenticity. Step forward, challenge erasure, and let your light ignite the world around you. We are a people of life, love, and perseverance. Claim it. Carry it forward. I am everyone. I am everywhere. You are everyone, and you are everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Quanda. So this year, 2026, marks the 100th anniversary of what we now celebrate as Black History Month. In his book, I'll Make Me a World, the 100-year journey of Black History Month, historian Jarvis Givens challenges readers to see beyond Black History Month as only a time for myopic commemorations of iconic figures, and instead to learn how Black History Month emerged as a liberatory project. Black History Month was designed to be radical, an opportunity for Black communities to learn about the aspects of their identity and their history that have been downplayed, diminished, or actively suppressed. Dr. Givens recovers the legacies of those who envisioned Black history as a liberatory force. That Black history was never meant to be just about the past. It was meant to shape how people resist in the present and how they dream the future. Dreaming and envisioning Black futures, as Andrea said earlier, that are not yet fully realized, but are already being practiced. Scholar Markeisha Lawrence Scott writes that at the heart of Afrofuturist thought is the capacity to honor the past while simultaneously building toward liberatory futures and imaginative possibilities. So Afrofuturism, as an expression of faith, asks, what kind of world do we want to live in, and what must we change to make it possible? In Octavia Butler's parable of the sower, the protagonist, Lauren Olamina, lives in a dystopic America collapsing from climate catastrophe and authoritarian breakthrough. Does this sound familiar? As an element of survival, Lauren develops a religion, a faith system that she calls Earthseed. Earthseed's fundamental belief is that God is change, that to survive in a changing, uncertain world, you need to be able to adapt to rather than resist change. For Lauren, this adaptation means survival for her and her community. In Earthseed, Lauren writes, all that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. Writer and activist Adrienne Marie Brown calls Butler's work visionary fiction, the collective work of imagining the futures we want to inhabit so we can begin building them together. Brown, who is the author of the Emergent Strategy series, says that visionary fiction writing is a practice we can use to imagine and prepare for the future together, to generate the ideas that we want to see more of in the world. To imagine better futures is to take responsibility for shaping them. So perhaps for today, Afrofuturism as an expression of faith is the courage to believe that Black futures rooted in joy, community care, and liberation are not only possible, but already emerging. Our work is to support the continued emergence and probability of that future being fully realized. And for my fellow white people, we do this alongside our Black and POC neighbors, not on behalf of them. We have to decenter ourselves in this future. We have to decenter ourselves in this future and instead envision our future as an interdependent web per our UU values and per Octavia Butler. Afrofuturism as an expression of faith reminds us that our faith is not only about what we believe, it is about what we dare to imagine. And what we dare to imagine shapes what we are willing to build. So who and what are our resources in imagining these futures? Read Octavia Butler. Read N.K. Jemisin. Listen to Janelle Monáe. Listen to Parliament Funkadelic. Watch Star Trek. practice visionary fiction writing. Write about the world you imagine where Black futures rooted in joy, community care, and liberation are present. Imagine a world where Black people have political power and enfranchisement, where they are leaders in our organizations and institutions, where Black folk have equitable access to healthcare and education, access to safely protest, to rest, and to play. Engage in the anti-racist and anti-oppressive resources offered here at UUS. Support the Black Futures Lab and the Movement for Black Lives, who right now are celebrating Black Futures Month. Read We Do This Till We Free Us by Mariam Kaba. Read Adrienne Marie Brown's Holding Change. Volunteer with the Iowa Freedom School. Afrofuturism as an expression of faith asks, what kind of world do we want to live in, and what must we change, including in ourselves, to make it possible? This weekend, participate in Iowa City's Black Future Fest. The month-long celebration continues this Thursday through this weekend with Afrofuturist short films at Film Scene, an Octavia Butler book panel where they will be discussing Kindred and Parable of the Sower, and a love and liberation fashion and art showcase. Both of those are on February 14th. On February 19th, there is the Building Bridges Between Us, a community forum at Dream City. And there are flyers in the atrium to learn more about these events. May we continue to practice the faith of Octavia Butler and Earthseed, the faith of imagination, the faith of Black nerds, the faith of joy and laughter and creativity and play, the faith of building futures where each of us can thrive, the faith of knowing all that you change, all that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. May it be so.
First, I want to say welcome to all the name tags that I see with us today. Thank you so much for joining us. We love to have you here as a member of the Rowdy group, Radical Welcoming Diversity Inclusion. I'll get it down eventually, but thank you so much for being here. We're really excited, and we hope you'll stay with us after in the fellowship hall. How we give and what we do with our lives is a reflection of our values. As we discern how abundance flows in different parts of our lives and communities, Every week, this congregation donates generously to organizations in the community whose work aligns with our values and principles. Cash and non-pledge offerings are shared between community partners, agencies, and UUS, with a 75% going to our partners. Our community partner agency for January is United Action for Youth. Since 1970, United Action for Youth has been supporting youth people and families in Johnson County and the surrounding areas by nurturing the potential for all youth to create, grow, and succeed. Their work envisions opportunities in which young people and adults work together in partnership to create safe and healthy communities. As a member of the board, I can tell you the work that they do is incredibly vital. You may not realize this, but we have many homeless youth in our county. If you're writing a check, please specify your intent by writing either pledge or offering in the memo line. You may also give online or via text by following the instructions on the screen, or by clicking the donate button on our website. As we give and receive the offering, may we be transformed by our giving, and may the world be transformed by our gifts. Thank you all. That was beautiful. May what has been shared today help us more fully affirm our interconnection and live into love and justice. There are quite a few opportunities for connection following today's service, so stay with me. After the service, we gather in the fellowship hall and outside for conversation and community. If you're a newcomer, we hope you'll grab a snack and then sit at a table so folks can join you for some conversation. You can also join the social justice team in the fellowship hall to write postcards to our local, state, and national representatives. Join us as we continue the Social Change Now curriculum, exploring the roles of weavers and storytellers. Today's multi-generational workshop will be at 11:30 in the RE Commons. The Pastoral Care Associates will be leading a Compassionate Connection Circle in the Walnut Room, also over there, immediately after today's worship service. Lastly, the Hope for Us conflict engagement team is leading an upcoming 8-week conflict resilience small group ministry beginning in late February. This small group ministry supports participants in strengthening their capacity to engage with conflict in productive, healthy ways, especially by building our ability to remain present, courageous, and compassionate in the midst of challenge. If you are interested in learning more or signing up, please speak to Erica Reshley. She'll be available after the service today, and you're also welcome to reach out by email for more information. And now, we will have our closing hymn, 1501, Are We?
Our closing hymn, number 1051, We Are. Please rise in body or in spirit.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
Please join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again.
I'm not Diana Smith, but I provide this benediction anyways. Never mind. In her novel, Parable of the Talents, Octavia Butler wrote, "We can, each of us, do the impossible, as long as we can convince ourselves that it has been done before. May we practice the faith of building futures where each of us can thrive, a future that is unfolding. Amen, and may it be so."